Well, the busiest traveling season of the year is upon us, with people getting ready to load up their cars so they can drive across the country to visit family for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But unlike the last several years, things are going to be much more expensive this time around. Gas prices have nearly doubled since Joe Beijing Biden stumbled his dumbass into the White House earlier this year, immediately canceling pipelines and nuking federal leases. Meanwhile, inflation across the board is nailing Americans as well, with groceries needed to make those holiday meals seeing double-digit price increases. And there's really no relief for those who choose to fly this holiday season instead of driving, with rental car prices hitting astronomical levels. So what the hell are our leaders doing about this? Well, they're passing more massive spending bills that fund special interest. Tax cuts for the rich, of course, and climate change boondoggles, while laughing in your face as you suffer the consequences. Rome is burning, people, and they are dancing, quite literally. Now, before we get any further, let's take a quick commercial break to pay some bills. Our health and patience have really been challenged, so I found a remedy that works. 100% pure ESS 60 is incredible, and now you can buy it directly from the lab. They call it a miracle molecule because people sleep better, enjoy more energy, and mental focus with a simple spoonful in the morning. You can mix it in your salad, rub it on a steak, or even dip your bread in it. ESS 60 comes in 3 delicious organic oils: olive, avocado, and MCT coconut. This groundbreaking blend supports your immune system with powerful antioxidants and antiviral properties. ESS 60 delivers more than 172 times the power of vitamin C. It's such a powerful antioxidant that it helps neutralize free radicals to assist with detoxification. Don't wait to order your ESS 60 oil directly from the lab. You're going to love it, and it's good for pets too. Get $10 off today at www.c60evo.com/conservative resurgence. That's www.c60evo.com/conservative resurgence, or click that link in the description box. Okay, so these intellectually unqualified clowns are celebrating stealing more of your money to feed their ineffective social loans, without even a hint of care for what normal Americans are going through. This is all a game to congressional members like Ilhan Omar and Joe Biden. They see themselves as transformational figures endowed with the right to remake the country in their own image at your expense. Meanwhile, you can't afford to fill your car's gas tank. Your heating bill has skyrocketed and bacon has become somewhat of a delicacy. Do you feel like a sucker yet? By the way, take a guess at what the single largest line item in the spending bill is. It's a massive giveaway to the very wealthy in dark blue states via a lifting of the salt tax cap. Looks like Nancy Pelosi is about to have a lot more cash to buy those expensive ice creams. Meanwhile, you can't even find beef. Representative Josh Gargamel, I don't know. Anyways, he tweeted out, "Thanks to this bill, we scored a big round against the moocher states and cut taxes for families across New Jersey's 5th District. Months ago, I said, quote, no salt, no dice. Today, New Jersey's middle-class families won big." Al, that's the name, responded. The Tax Policy Center estimates that in 2021, only about 1.6% of middle-class income households, those making between about $54,000 and $96,000, would receive any benefits from the increased cap. The average tax cut for all middle-income households, $20. Folks, these people are not even bothering to fake empathy anymore. They are passing tax cuts for their rich donors and crushing the value of your savings, and they are rubbing your nose in it. After all, it's not going to affect them. You see, they've got theirs already, and they are happy to yank that ladder up after reaching the top. You almost have to respect the honesty at this point. Mind you, their day is coming, though. Democrats may be partying right now, but the 2022 election looms like a hurricane building offshore. And that backlash, well, it's going to be the stuff of legends.
The most galling part of all of it is none of this is an accident. America has more than enough energy to keep gas prices low. So why is this happening? Well, it's being done on purpose by the party that hates gasoline. Gas engines are bad for the climate, Democrats tell us. They appear to believe that, But they also understand something else about gas. Cars mean autonomy. If you've got a car, you can go wherever you want. The central planners cannot control you. They hate that. At this point, they can't express a thought like that out loud because it's too scary. So instead, they call you a racist. Watch.
For years, you all have continued to promote fossil fuels despite knowing that promoting them means promoting environmental racism and violence in Black and brown communities. You all are still promoting and selling fossil fuels that are killing millions of people. This is a striking example of white supremacy.
So fossil fuels are a, quote, striking example of white supremacy. That's the latest thought bubble from prominent Democratic Party intellectual Congresswoman Cori Bush of St. Louis. You got to wonder what the world's many non-white OPEC countries think of that. They must be thoroughly confused by it. But Cori Bush doesn't know it. She's never heard of OPEC. She just prattles on, thoughtless little moron that she is, denouncing this or that as a striking example of white supremacy. That's what she does. What's interesting is that not a single prominent Democrat will tell Cori Bush to shut up and sit down. They're not allowed to do that. So over time, Cori Bush's ravings become official government policy. Why shouldn't we shut down energy pipelines in the middle of an energy crisis? Pipelines are racist. And having done that, which in fact they are now doing at this moment, why wouldn't we shut down the energy companies themselves? If energy is racist, so are the corporations that sell it. So burn it all down and make way for utopia. That's what they're concluding. Here's a top Biden nominee, someone who could very soon supervise every financial institution in the country, explaining that we should root for the destruction of the most robust economic sector in the United States. Watch.
For certain troubled industries and firms that are in transitioning. And here what I'm thinking about is primarily coal industry and oil and gas industry. A lot of the smaller players in that industry are going to probably go bankrupt in short order. At least we want them to go bankrupt if we want to tackle climate change, right?
We should want them to go bankrupt, quote. Who's she talking about? Well, she's talking about the people who make it possible to have, say, airplanes, asphalt, automobiles, farm equipment, fertilizer, steel, plastics, golf balls, antihistamines, aspirin, soap, electricity. Virtually every other feature of modern civilization comes from fossil fuels. But let's just shut them all down and then applaud as we do. The future will be much better then, we promise. That's what the Democratic Party is as of tonight. So you can see very clearly why they're not too concerned by the fact you're going broke filling up your car. Going broke is the whole point of the exercise. Here's Joe Biden's new Commerce Secretary, Gina Raimondo.
If you were still governor of Rhode Island, and I understand you're not, would you be hoping or asking for the president to open up the Strategic Petroleum Reserve?
Again, I think it's premature to say. What I would be saying to the president is I would just ask him to keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, Joe Biden. Crushing the middle class with completely out of control energy costs. If we can hike gas by another $20 a tank or make it impossible for you to heat your home in January, we'll have won. A desperate population will welcome whatever we give them next. That's what they're thinking. Watch the president's flack from last month before she disappeared explain that, shut up, stop your whining. We've got bigger problems than your household budget.
The climate crisis, one of the greatest national security crises the president sees. A number of other world leaders agree on that front. Certainly, we all want to keep gasoline prices low, but the threat of the crisis, the climate crisis, certainly can't wait any longer.
Yeah, we just can't wait any longer, says the single most entitled person in the District of Columbia. Nothing's more important than, quote, the climate crisis. And of course she's saying that because it's easy for her to say. But what if you wanted to drive your kids to school for less than $5 a gallon? What if you just realized you actually can't take that family trip to Yellowstone next summer because you can't afford it anymore? Well, to self-righteous co-eds like Jen Psaki, these are not real concerns. They're just more bitching from a peasant class that doesn't understand what's good for them. In the end, they'll accept it. They'll have to. Just as they'll have to accept inflation as a permanent feature of the American economy, which, by the way, newsflash, it is. Yes, inflation's real. It's not transitory like they told us.
Most of this came by way of redstate.com. If you liked it, hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Leave a comment down below. There's a PayPal link in the description box, so please put $1 in the bucket on the way out the door. I'd like to thank everyone for all your donations. They're much needed and much appreciated. Now, with all that being said, we'll see you next time.
Come on, move. Move. Easy, easy.
Here's a little update. The White House announced Tuesday that our driller-in-chief would release 50 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. The Chinese shill attempted to argue in a statement the demand for oil was not about to keep up with the economy recovering from the bat stew pandemic shutdowns, leading to higher prices. Now, gas prices have hit a 7-year high as Biden struggles to find a solution to higher gas prices. Biden, of course, failed to convince OPEC nations to produce more oil in November and tried to blame the higher prices on oil companies. Biden's release from the oil reserves is bigger than that of previous presidents. In 2011, President Barack Hussein Obama released 30 million barrels in the wake of the war in Libya. In 2005, President George W. Bush released 30 million barrels after Hurricane Katrina. Back in 1999, Bill Clinton also tapped the emergency oil reserves, releasing 30 million barrels 45 days before the 2000 presidential election, because of course he did. The morons currently running the White House also argued Americans have more money to use to help pay for more expensive gas. In a statement, our driller-in-chief reminded Americans that thanks to his policies, they have nearly $100 more per month in disposable income in their pockets to help pay for the higher costs of energy and fuel. Biden also boasted that his historic infrastructure bill invested in green energy with the goal of a net zero emissions economy by 2050 and reducing our dependence on foreign fossil fuels. Well, as I said earlier, these midterms are going to be historic. Once again, thanks for watching. Donate if you can, and we'll see you next time.